Hello, a very good morning and welcome to What Med Media. I'm Dr. Kishan Rees and my friends and colleagues at Sky News have been busy. This morning at 5:11, John Craig, the chief political correspondent, put out an analysis piece which was essentially why privately many Tory MPs believe a U-turn from quote-unquote tin-eared government on free school meals is inevitable. Now, if you have not seen it, I don't know where you've been because it's been all over the press. It's been all over social media. Marcus Rashford has encouraged 51 councils to go against Boris Johnson's mandate or requirement that they're not going to feed hungry children over half term. And there's also now 100 businesses that are supporting in providing the meals that are required, right? So Marcus Rashford's Twitter and Instagram are great places to get updates for examples of true leadership. If anybody wants to go there, I would getting some connection issues. I would highly recommend. 32 people watching. Thank you very much for watching and joining me on your Sunday morning. Please like, please share, please comment. The more people that do that, the more these videos will be served up to by Facebook algorithms. It was a quick cup of tea, Teresa. It was only half cup, half drunk. Hey, Julie, hope you're well. Yeah, it's a bit... The tea, I made it earlier this morning, and it's a bit I'd say it's tepid at the moment. But it's a nice red label tea bag with some chai masala in it and some sweeteners and almond milk. Not that you asked, but I thought I'd mention it. Guy, morning, mate. How you doing? So I should probably hurry up because the signal's really bad. But I'd like this to be a little bit more of a discussion as well. So please put your comments, please put your thoughts while we read through this piece of political analysis that is available over on the Sky News website and was written by their chief political correspondent, John Craig. So, many Tory MPs believe the longer the government delays, the more damage, particularly in red wall seats, will be inflicted. Boris Johnson should have a word with the Conservative-controlled local council in his West London constituency of Uxbridge and South Ruislip, just around the corner from me, about Marcus Rashford's school meals campaign. Hillingdon Council will be offering free school meals to eligible children during the half-term holiday the council announced this weekend. Full details of the scheme and how to claim will be made available on Monday, so tomorrow. Hillingdon is not the only Tory borough to ignore the Prime Minister's rejection of the Manchester United and England Stars campaign to extend free school meals to the half-term holiday period. 33 people watching. Please like, please share, get it to as many people as possible. Come on, do us a favour. I'm doing this in addition to a full-time job. I don't make anything from it. It is completely... he is. He's evolving into authentic legend. Musa, talking about authentic legends. Good morning, Musa. How are you doing? Musa is doing some amazing work. Is it Cygnus or something? Operation Cygnus, Musa? I'm not entirely sure. I tell you what, tell people about it in the comments. The 40 people that are watching, Musa is doing some amazing work. And I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm not going to talk about it because I've read a little bit about it. I fully support it. I think what he's doing is excellent. But I would encourage you all to chat in the comments while I'm reading this. Let's do two things at once. Let's talk to Musa, get to know Dr. Musa Qureshi, who's a haematologist. And he's also, I guess, a part-time lawyer, maybe. Musa, is that fair to say? / lawyer crowdfunder. Have a chat to him in the comments. He's going to post some links. He's going to post some information that he's putting in there. And I'm going to keep on reading this. So, here we go. Then there's a photo of Boris looking a bit down. The Tory-controlled council in the PM's constituency is going to be offering free school meals during half-term. Looking a bit down, but he does have the colour back into his face, which I'm incredibly pleased to see. And I'm glad that he appears to have recovered from his brush with COVID-19. And this makes me, now that 53 people are coming, brilliant. I think, because I said I was going to start at 9:50, You all also went off and made a cup of tea as well. Sorry, I started a little bit too early because I didn't actually have to make the cup of tea. I had it here. So if you could please like, share, comment. And I'm just, before I get back to the rest of this article by John Craig that's published this morning, what I'm going to say is we need to listen to Marcus Rashford and what he's urging people, because some of the vitriolic abuse levelled at male and female MPs about this is absolutely disgusting, and I completely agree with him. And I don't block much. I don't get anything blocked really on WhatMed Media, because I think it's important that we don't drive people further and further into two disparate tribes. Is disparate the right word? Disparate, maybe, tribes. We don't want people in different tribes in filter bubbles, right? And so what I do is I don't block stuff. You know, there's some of the language in the comments I don't particularly. Hancock is saying they followed Operation Cygnus, one of the team on WhatMed Media put. Apparently he is, but I don't know. Let's see what Dr. Musa Qureshi has to say. If Matt Hancock would like to come on WhatMed Media, Musa Qureshi is welcome, as is Matt Hancock. Jonathan Ashworth's been on. So Matt, if you're watching and you would like to come on, I would love to interview you. You would be more than welcome and you would get a fair hearing. And wouldn't it be great to have both Dr. Musa Qureshi and Matt Hancock, instead of fighting it out in the courts? Wouldn't it be great to have them just discussing in a adult, not that Musa doesn't, but in an adult, articulate way, bringing the public on board so they understand what the implications are for them and their decisions, right? So keep chatting to Musa. I'm glad you're posting stuff, Musa. I'm also glad that you have joined. I'm sorry I haven't spoken to you for so long. I haven't spoken to loads of friends for ages. We need to catch up. But while we're here and while we've got 47 people watching, please like, please share, please comment, please discuss with Musa. And this video will also be served up to people afterwards as well. If Facebook accepts the ads, I'm not sure. Let's find out. Others include True, Blue, Kensington and Chelsea, the richest borough in the UK. I didn't know this. With the greatest concentration of billionaires on the planet and residents including Sir Elton John and the Beckhams. But it's not just Tory councils that are defying the Prime Minister, as public support for the Rashford campaign appears to grow. Excuse me. And the government digs itself deeper and deeper. No, John Craig only says deeper. I added the deeper and deeper. That is the dyslexia in terms of me reading ahead. And I tell you what, if I was doing this in school, I would have hated this, reading out loud. But anyway, as the government digs itself deeper into a hole with its intransigence. Here we go. That is a word I haven't said since the 14th of September. Conservative MPs, many of whom are facing an angry backlash in their own constituencies, after voting against Labour's Commons motion to extend free school meals to half-term, are on the turn too. One such sinner who appears to be repenting is Tobias Ellwood, the former minister who chairs the Defence Select Committee, who told Sky News free school meals appear to be popular and so the government, I'm getting tired now, so I'm going to stop soon, shouldn't be churlish and do what works. With Labour certain to keep up the pressure on the government, and I heard the breaking news this morning that they've said that before Christmas, if it's not sorted out, they will raise it again in Parliament. With Labour certain to keep up the pressure on the government on free school meals after Parliament's half-term recess, a Tory rebellion in the event of another Commons vote is likely to be much bigger than the 5 MPs who voted with Labour on Wednesday. This is a case of reputational risk. This is a question of having to show some kind of degree of competence in the polls. And have you noticed how, as the polls are doing that, the policy reversals and U-turns and decisions are doing that, right? And from a COVID point of view, as the science is changing, as the picture is emerging and it's different, fair enough, right? I think if they change their mind and it's the right decision, good. But how on earth can a U-turn on feeding hungry children be justified, right? And it's being now the other thing that's getting cut through in the media is there's this meme of the cabinet, the front bench, Boris sitting there asking Rishi, what's the next phrase, or what's the next thing after eat out to help out? And then somebody's written Rishi Sunak saying, what you guys, have you seen it? I don't know, I can't quite remember. Is it something like starve a kid to save a kid or something like that? I mean, it's just absolutely awful. So this is a U-turn that should not be celebrated, but they should be pushed, and they should be asked and justified why they feel it's appropriate to vote for that in the first place, right? Yeah, that's it, Lewis. Thanks. I couldn't quite remember it. But so, there's so many things now that are achieving cut-through, whether it be Dominic Cummings, whether it be, I can't remember the other ones. There's so many things. When I say cut-through, I mean it's getting into public discourse, because anybody that's interested in politics and everybody that talks, and generally the audience of What Met Media, these people are basically 10% at the left and 10% at the right. It's almost probably less than that. It's a minority of people. Sky News Girl on Twitter, I've forgotten her name, but her handle is Sky News Girl, has posted a brilliant thing, an article from The Guardian, where they were saying something about... Well, Cindy, hold on. So that's an interesting point, Cindy. I'll come back to that in a sec. Actually, I'll say it now. If you follow Sepsis Doc, or Ron Daniels Sepsis on Twitter, he's talking about how he didn't sign up for causing harm, and he can't justify that picture in Wales where you've got the cards banned, cordoned off, right? And I've lost my train of thought for the other thing that I was saying. Something reminds me where I was, and I'll come to it. I'll come back to it. But anyway, hold on. So Labour certain to keep up the pressure. They've confirmed that this morning, which we talked about that. Yeah, Beth Rigby. Beth Rigby's amazing, right? I love Beth Rigby because when she was chasing Jeremy Hunt down the street, and they used it as a package for part of the interview that I gave in January 2017 outside Lincoln County Hospital. I'll post it in the comments afterwards on this with Kay Burley. She was amazing, right? And we've kept in touch since. And I'm just so pleased to see Beth Rigby's career just absolutely skyrocket and go on a trajectory like that, because it's so deserved, and she puts out so much content. And there's a really good bunch of people at Sky, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I honestly, well, you can say I'm biased, but I genuinely, honestly believe it. But anyway, so some Tory MPs, however, and this is important for balance. Here we go. So for this bit, can you please keep it civilised in the comments, right? We cannot be calling people stuff that is out of order. And I saw some comments in terms of saying, yeah, expect a backlash. No, I understand that people are struggling, that people are unwell, people are stressed. They've had 7 months, 8 months of not particularly nice time from COVID, right? But we can always maintain a level of decorum. So please keep liking, keep sharing, keep commenting. The stream of comments for the 50 people watching and the streams of likes really help me going. Keep going, because as you can see, I'm flagging. The energy is lulling, yeah, so it'll help me out. So come on, guys, 55 people watching. Just got one solitary like kind of floating through the screen, very kind of lonely and isolated, and that's good. A few more, come on, just literally keep pressing it, because it will serve it up to more people. And then, or maybe you think that more people shouldn't see this, which is equally fine. So, some Tory MPs, however, thank you, keep it going, here we go, that's better. Some Tory MPs, however, take a different view regarding the Rashford campaign and Labour's backing of it as a crude party political attempt to denigrate and smear the Prime Minister and the government. My own personal opinion is I think they're making enough of a job at that themselves, to be honest. And I think that's a bit sad. I think that is the usual political soundbite. Oh, it's the opposition playing politics with it. Yes, it will work for a lot of people, but when you get a Premier League superstar footballer, an England footballer, achieving cut-through into the mainstream media, social media, in the way that he is, I think, thankfully, playing that cheap point in terms of it's just party political point scoring doesn't really wash, which is good. Brilliant. Keep going with the likes. Keep going. Really, really good. And the comments and the sharing. Just share to groups. That's the other thing. Please specifically share this to groups. Make as many comments as you can. Say where you are. Say where you are in the UK, who you are, where you're from. What is the COVID restrictions like in your area? I would be really, really keen and really interested to know. I will apportion ads to both this video and the previous video that I did this morning. I will check in on them throughout the day. Fine. So, some of the Conservative MPs who take that view and have made crass... Sorry, here we go. Hold on. I'm sorry, but being polite and nice is getting us nowhere. Scotty Miller. Well, okay, that's a really interesting point. So let's talk about this. That's interesting, Craig. Who'll replace him in January when he quits? And so there's 2 comments there. Being nice will get people places, I promise you. We can always be kind. And if you look at the infighting in Labour and the left particularly, and the extreme left, and the more centrists in the Labour Party, if you look at that infighting, the electorate does not like a divided party, right? Who will replace him? I have no idea. But I think he'll be around for a bit longer because he needs to take the heat for Brexit and the absolute omni-shambles, as I said, 3.5 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever, on Sky. The omni-shambles that has been how Brexit has been handled. So yes. I'll tell you what, I am going to have a little cup of tea now. This is green tea. This is part of my biohacking from my one of my best friends and colleagues calls this my Moroccan teapot. And my Sherlock Holmes mug that's going to change colour in a minute and say I am Sherlocked. But anyway, that's good. It gives me the visual reminder that the tea has got cold. I need to drink it. Angela, good morning. I hope you're well. Just down the road. Haven't seen you for ages either. And you're just down the road. But that's what we need to do. And we need to utilise technology such as Facebook, such as social media to remain connected, because otherwise we'll struggle. Talking of struggling, I'm now going to go to the part of this article which has some bad words and comments by MPs, so they're not setting a particularly good example. But we can be higher than that. We can be better than that. So please, I'm absolutely imploring you to keep it civil in the comments. Keep streaming, keep commenting, keep sharing to groups. Tell me where you're from. As I look up, hello, Angela. If I see something that catches my eye, you never know. It might take... Yeah, I do. Omnichannel is now going to be the term of choice. 100%. Omnishambles from the thick of it. And Armando Iannucci's thick of it. If he is ever watching any of this stuff, and if not, just tweet him and say, please bring back the thick of it. There is so much content and it is desperately needed. So, here we go. Here we go, yeah. So, some of the Conservative MPs who take that view and have made crass and insensitive comments. None more so than Ben Bradley. Motormouth? I get it. Motormouth MP from Mansfield, who described free school meals as, quote, £20 cash direct to a crack den and brothel. So we could call him something that is out of order, or what I would suggest that we do is we argue in a adult and a sensible way in terms of that we should be trusting people wherever they are in the social strata, whether it is at the very top or the very bottom, to be able to manage their own finances and do the right thing, right? So the biggest example is homeless people. When I wander around, wherever I am, and I see somebody who has landed on tough times for reasons often out of their own control, I will stop with them. If I have some money and I can give it to them, I will. And it's not a case of just chucking it at them. It's a case of sitting down, socially distanced, of course, very important. What's her name? Where are you from? Nice to meet you. Have some whatever, right? And if you don't have money and you have time and you can afford it, just go ask them what they're like. Treat them like people and humans that they are, and say, can I go to get you a coffee or something, right? So this thing that we shouldn't be trusting people with money because it's 20 quid cash direct to a crack den and a brothel, Ben Bradley. What a lot of nonsense. What an absolute load of nonsense. But anyway, Mr. Bradley is the sensitive soul who tweeted during the 2011 London riots, "The water cannons are coming. I'll be in front of the news tonight watching police play, quote, splat the chav." Anyway, another charmer is Selene Saxby, MP for the North Devon seat, once represented by Jeremy Thorpe, who said she hoped local businesses would be able to give away food for free, will not be seeking any further government support. And then Selene Saxby has put a statement on Twitter. Selene, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a bit of advice here, right? If you're going to post something on Twitter, don't bother with a wall of text, right? Not particularly engaging, not particularly interesting, is it? So I'm just going to go on from that. But if you want to read it, her statement, it's at Selene, Selaine, Saxby. Sorry if I said Saxelby, but Selaine, Saxby. Rashford, meanwhile, here we go, who rather sweetly took his mum with him on a visit to a food bank depot, has wisely stayed above the political point scoring and remains courteous in his comments and correspondence with MPs. But it had emerged, the England footballer wrote a very personal letter, and there's a link to this, which I might go on to in a sec, on the 1st of September. On the very same day, he wrote a public letter to all MPs, but has still not received a response from Downing Street nearly 8 weeks later. Well, at least it's not just Sir Keir Starmer who doesn't get written back to. It is also Marcus Rashford. His spokesperson said the letter was very respectful, informing of the intent and the objective of his child food poverty task force and requesting collaboration with the government. Privately, many Tory MPs believe the government's response to this issue is tin-eared and shockingly bad politics. They believe a U-turn is inevitable and that the longer the government delays, the more damage to the Conservative Party, particularly in those red wall seats the Tories won in the north of England in the December 2019 general election, will be inflicted, and self-inflicted damage at that. Speaking on Sky News, the always wise former number 10 Downing Street press spokesman Jonathan Haslam recommended to the Prime Minister that he attempt to avoid further political damage by talking to his MPs. He might have added that Mr Johnson should speak to his local Tory council in West London too. Let's just see if this brings up that letter easily. Here we go. Boris Johnson failed to reply to personal letter sent by Marcus Rashford asking for help for feeding hungry children. I've commented all that. The private letter to number 10 said the vouchers, which Rashford campaigned for, were only a short-term solution, and went on to call for teamwork to help the hungry children in the long term. Sky News understands that the letter was sent privately in September alongside a public letter that thanked the government for the voucher scheme over the summer, which helped families struggling to put food on the table. Boris Johnson has failed to reply to a personal letter sent by Marcus Rashford in which the footballer asked the Prime Minister to join a task force he created to help tackle child food poverty. Everything else we've commented on this letter we've talked in already. Here's the message from Marcus Rashford that we need to take in mind. We are bigger than that. Sorry, Twitter's just loading. Here we go. A quick message. This is on Marcus Rashford's Twitter. You'll be pleased to know this has got, 109.5 thousand likes, 10.1 thousand retweets, 3,000 quote retweets. And Marcus Rashford is getting more engagement than a lot of the leaders, political leaders, right? Somebody said, hold on, here we go. I've got this comment here. But this is Marcus Rashford on his Twitter, at Marcus Rashford. I want to take a quick second to acknowledge that a number of MPs and their families have received unacceptable abuse over the last couple of days, especially on Twitter, which can be an absolute, he's not saying this, I'm saying this, can be an absolute cesspit of a place. Believe me, as a Premier League player, I know all too well what that feels like, and it's unnecessary. We are bigger than that. Everybody knows how important my mum is to me, and I cannot and do not condone personal attacks on females in particular. Disappointment is a natural reaction, but we must rise above it. We have proved how much power there is in togetherness. Just look at my Twitter feed. It's overwhelming. What we need right now is collaboration. Let's stay focused on what is most important, which is our children and making sure they get the help that they need. I appreciate you all. Red heart emoji. Somebody said, totally agree. The abuse, this is Luke Addis. I don't know who he is, but totally agree. The abuse is corrosive to future collaboration, but we should always hold those responsible to account. They truly messed up this week and it shouldn't happen again. So he got 223 likes 13 hours ago. Marcus Rashford comes back with 1.7 thousand likes. Holding to account and threatening to rape are two very different things. So, thank you very much for spending your Sunday morning with me. I've gone on way longer than I planned to. And I can feel a little headache just starting, which is, I guess, the blood flow going to my brain. People have told me that one of my old bosses, in fact, who's also a good friend, said that after a brain injury, you need to limit intellectual effort. So with that in mind, I'm going to call it a day now. But thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I'm back now, back in the groove, doing these videos. And if you could contribute to crowdfunding, I would really, really appreciate it. You are only getting... Cheers, Musa, I will do. You're only paying for Facebook ads. That's it. That's just so we can get it up to more people. We've raised about £2.2 thousand, I think. 100% of that money is going to Facebook ads. I know it's difficult and I know tougher times are coming. So if you can't contribute, don't worry about it. But please, if you could, like and share and comment. And just use these posts as a place to check in during the day. Pleasure, Scotty. Check in during the day. Tag people. Chat to people. Tell me where you're from. I will check in on them. I'll comment on them as much as I can. So that's if you don't have any disposable income. If you do have disposable income, and I've been incredibly grateful to some very nice and large and anonymous donations to help me get to that 2.2 thousand, then what I will do is I will use that money 100% for Facebook ads, right? Separate bank account, completely auditable. If you ever want the statements, you can have them, because this is too important not to, right? I've got the time, I've got the tech, and yeah, I will, Sharon. I've got the time, I've got the tech. I'm reading about this anyway. I'm writing about it, and I want to get it to as many people as possible, because there's no point in educating in a vacuum, because otherwise it's not worth the intellectual effort that I've been told to avoid expending. So take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you so much for spending the first part of your Sunday morning with me, and it's not quite what Ridge on Sunday would get, but we'll get there. And I'm sorry for kind of stumbling on some of the words and stuff, because I'm still learning to improve in terms of how to do this again. So thank you very much. Look after yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you really, really soon. Cheers.